It's the biggest horse race in the world. I think we have 600 million people viewing this horse race worldwide. We've got £300 million worth of bets on that horse race, and we're just going to go and ruin it.
At an office building in East London, a group of vegan activists from Animal Rebellion gather for a secret meeting. They are here to plot how to sabotage the Grand National, one of the most celebrated horse races in the world. If successful, their protest will outrage millions and guarantee the kind of international media coverage the militant group craves. But what the ringleaders of this shocking conspiracy do not know is that among their ranks is a Mail on Sunday reporter. Today, in a world exclusive, we can reveal how more than 100 activists are planning to wreck this year's race on April 15th. We secretly filmed a 7-hour training session during which a group of protesters were told how they would break onto the course using bolt cutters to cut holes in the perimeter fence. The protesters then planned to glue themselves together and sit down on the track. Those behind the plot have already carried out reconnaissance missions to pinpoint security weak spots. Our involvement with Animal Rebellion began weeks earlier, when an undercover reporter from the Mail on Sunday joined the group. Founded in 2019, Animal Rebellion is an offshoot of the much larger Extinction Rebellion. It campaigns against animal farming and in favour of plant-based foods, which it claims would reduce carbon emissions. The organisation shot to national prominence last year, when zealots stormed department stores and supermarkets, including Harrods, Fortnum & Mason's and Waitrose, and poured cartons of milk onto the floor. Last September, the group blockaded milk depots and sabotaged tankers in a bid to trigger a national milk shortage. In recent months, they have targeted high-end restaurants, with activists occupying tables at Gordon Ramsay's restaurant in Chelsea and Scott's in Mayfair, where former James Bond star Pierce Brosnan was dining with his wife. As our investigator worked undercover, she began to hear that a major escalation was being planned. Then, earlier this month, our reporter received an extraordinary phone call. An activist called Jim Edwards, the founding editor of a financial news website, who in 2018 was pictured with London Mayor Sadiq Khan, revealed that the group was planning to target the Grand National.
Okay. Yeah, we'd love to get involved in that, but there's also another much bigger one we're planning for April 15th. Have you heard anything about this?
Only in your text.
Okay. So, do you know the Grand National?
Yeah, the horse racing thing.
Yeah. That will not be happening this year.
Okay. Because...
Would you... Because people like you and me, we're hoping to gather 300 activists to occupy that course and stop it, basically.
With a global audience of 500 million people in 140 countries, the Grand National is a tempting target for fanatics determined to grab attention. In 1997, Aintree was evacuated and the race delayed for 2 days after the IRA made a bomb threat. Mr. Edwards told us that Animal Rebellion was organising a network of safe houses in the northwest of England, where activists would stay before the race. Last week, our reporter joined 10 others in Dalston, East London, for a training exercise to prepare for the Grand National protest.
Basically, we want hundreds of people on the track disrupting that action and disrupting that event, and then just shutting it down. And we're literally stopping the harm. We're stopping the horses from having to run that day, and preventing any potential deaths as well. As we know, so many horses die during horse races.
An organiser began reading from a script in an exercise designed to prepare the protesters for the intensity of holding a hugely disruptive protest in front of a hostile crowd. As she described how the scene would unfold, a soundtrack of rowdy spectators was played in the background. She explained how the protesters would be known as Ps and would be split into teams known as pods. They would be driven to near the perimeter of the racecourse in a minibus. Donning pink t-shirts emblazoned with the words "Animal Rising," they would then use ladders to scale its security fence before the race starts. Other activists would use bolt cutters to cut through the fence. They would then run onto the famous racetrack before the start of the race and sit down, gluing themselves together and forming a human barrier across the course.
And you grab the ladders, your friends got the bolt cutters, and you start walking toward the fence, and you can hear the crowd screaming, and you're walking up to this fence, and past members of the public who are wondering what on earth you're doing, and now you can see other pods coming, there's like 100 of you now at the fence. You get the ladders out, put them up against the fence, and you're the first one to go over. You start climbing that fence, and you can see security on the other side. You don't care, you know you're doing the right thing, and you jump over that fence. And then you see your fellow peas, the pink peas coming over the fence with you, and others cutting through the fence and climbing through. Your pod is all got onto the track now, and you start walking and getting glue out, gluing each other, your hands to each other, and walking towards the crowd. And you can see 50,000 people screaming and shouting at you, and they're really fucking mad. And security running towards you for the police. And you keep walking, and you feel really, really fearless and powerful.
We learned that the ringleaders have already walked around Aintree's perimeter and even on the course in preparation for the protest. They plan to carry out their final reconnaissance mission during the 3-day race meeting to pinpoint exactly where security guards will be positioned. One of the leading plotters said he was confident the protesters would easily scale the 5-foot, 5-inch perimeter fence.
A bit worried, like, you know, I'm not very good at jumping down on fences.
I mean, that's why we're bringing the bolt cutters as well. So
Oh, right.
Bring a hole.
The hole will be perfect.
Yeah.
Because we also have some people who have mobility issues, like it's going to be wheelchair users and stuff. So we're going to make sure that the hole is big enough for them. Yeah. We may have been there at some point recently, and I was like thinking I could just jump and like jump over.
Another senior activist disclosed there had been a plan to sneak onto the racecourse at night and dig up the track. This, however, was abandoned because a mass protest would have more impact.
We were talking about green space, but it's way more powerful just having hundreds of people. Like, people power is what is most powerful. Originally we were like, oh yeah, let's just go the night before and dig up the track. But it's like, yeah, that's great, we stopped the race, but it looks so much more powerful. Just people using their bodies to stop it, stop the harm.
This is not the first time Animal Rebellion has targeted a prestigious horse race. Last June, 6 female protesters ran onto the track before the Epsom Derby, but were quickly removed by police. This time, however, the campaign group is planning disruption on a far bigger scale. Indeed, more than 100 activists have signed up for the planned protest and are due to receive their instructions via the encrypted app Signal. More than 20 campaigners have agreed to ferry protesters and equipment, including ladders, to Merseyside in a fleet of minibuses. The final exercise of the training day was perhaps the most important. With crowd noise again playing in the background, the protesters practice how to barge through a line of security guards.
Sorry, guys. No coming through here. Sorry. No. You have to turn around. Come through. Sorry. Go back. Turn around. Go back. You're not coming through here.
Disturbingly, the Grand National could just be the start. Animal Rebellion is planning a series of protests to derail horse race meetings.
Yeah, we're going to be doing this throughout the summer. I'm sure you know there's lots of big horse races in the UK. We're going to just all up and it's not happening.
Millions of horse racing fans will hope that it will not come to that. The Mail on Sunday's dossier of evidence will be handed to the police.